Some cricket matches are just straightforward. They follow the script. This was supposed to be one of those. But instead, it turned into one of the most unforgettable thrillers you could imagine. So let's break down how a game that looked completely over was flipped on its head not once, but twice.
That's what you heard screaming from the commentary box. It's the exact moment a comfortable, simple run chase just spiraled into absolute beautiful chaos. The question is, how on earth did we get there?
Well, it all started with this number. 5. That's how many wickets tumbled, one right after the other, completely dismantling a batting lineup that should have been cruising to an easy victory.
And here's the part that's just insane. This wasn't some slow, gradual decline. No, this was a full-on, catastrophic meltdown in less than 5 overs. It was the kind of collapse that becomes legendary, for all the wrong reasons.
So that's the big question we're going to tackle. How did a sure thing become an impossible rescue mission? We're going to walk through the 3 acts of this incredible drama: the easy cruise, the epic collapse, and the unbelievable counterattack, to see how a game can literally be won by millimeters.
All right, so let's set the scene. Act 1, it all starts with the Punjab Kings firmly in the driver's seat. Everything, and I mean everything, is going exactly to plan.
The Gujarat Titans put 163 on the board. Now, in the world of T20 cricket, that's a decent score, it's competitive, but for a powerhouse batting lineup like Punjab's, it was more than gettable. You'd expect them to chase that down 9 times out of 10.
And after losing an early wicket, Prav Simran Singh and Cooper Connolly just put on an absolute show. They smashed 76 runs at a ridiculous pace, a strike rate over 155. They took Punjab's chances of winning from basically a coin flip at 40% all the way up to a 75% certainty. The game was in the bag. It was theirs to lose.
And lose it. They almost did. So let's get to Act 2. This is where the script gets thrown out the window, and the match is completely turned upside down. This is where the carnage really begins.
Just look at this timeline of destruction. It starts with Shreyas Iyer getting out. A few overs later, bam! 2 wickets in just 3 balls. Suddenly, these experienced, top-quality players are just walking back to the dugout one by one, and you can just feel the panic starting to set in.
This chart really shows the damage. Before the collapse, Punjab were still the favorites, about a 55% chance to win. Just 3 overs later, their chances were slashed in half, down to a measly 27.5%. The momentum didn't just swing, it did a complete 180 and slammed the door in their face.
So who was the mastermind behind this chaos? One man. The architect of Punjab's complete and utter demise was this guy, Prasidh Krishna. His spell of 3 wickets in just 14 deliveries just ripped the heart out of Punjab's middle order, and suddenly Gujarat was in total control. But the story was far from over. With the team in absolute tatters, one player, who'd been watching all this chaos from the other end of the pitch, decided to launch his own almost impossible rescue mission. That man was Cooper Connolly. He'd been out there since the start, but now he had to do it all by himself. He ends up not out on 72. And get this, he scored 54 of the team's last 47 runs. Think about that. He single-handedly outscored what the team needed. It was an absolute masterclass in handling pressure, and no surprise, he was player of the match. And this right here, this was the match within the match. Prasidh Krishna was unplayable for everybody else. He was a nightmare. But against Connolly, he got hammered for 18 runs off 10 balls and couldn't get him out. Connolly didn't just survive the man who caused the collapse, he dismantled him. This little battle decided the entire game. So Punjab somehow pulls off the win. But the question is, how close was it really? Let's jump into the debrief and see how this unbelievable comeback was decided by the absolute smallest of margins.
To do this, we're going to use this really cool tool we call Black Mirror. It lets us explore these alternate realities. We can ask, what if? What if we change just one single thing in the match? How does that create a totally different outcome? Let's dive into our first mirror world. In reality, Punjab's own bowler, Arshdeep Singh, gifted Gujarat 14 free runs with some really sloppy bowling. Now, what if he'd just been disciplined? The target would have been only 149. In that world, Punjab wins easily, the big collapse never really matters, and Connolly isn't a hero. Those 14 gifted runs literally created the pressure cooker that almost cost them everything.
Okay, now for mirror world number 2. What if Prasidh Krishna had gotten Connolly out? If just one of those deliveries had found the edge of the bat. We're talking about a millimeter of wood here. Connolly is out for 38. In that reality, Punjab loses, and Gujarat wins by about 12 runs. The entire story, the whole narrative, flips on a single instant.
So when you look at the advanced stats, the truth really comes out. The Critechery scores show that, honestly, both teams played a pretty flawed, average game. But then you look at this SR dominant score, which basically measures a batter's impact. Punjab's is 6.2, and it's almost all because of Connolly. Gujarat's is just 0.7. This wasn't a case of the better team winning. It was one man's individual brilliance papering over all the cracks.
And that brings us right to our final massive question. We've seen the incredible heroics and the razor-thin margins. We've also seen the deep flaws that almost made it all for nothing. So which was it? Was this a legendary comeback forged under immense pressure? Or was it a very, very lucky escape from a crisis they created themselves? The answer, just like the game, is anything but simple.